Recovery Goal Setting and a Strength-Based Approach, Session 1. Course Ground Rules. Work through Sessions 1, 2, and 3 in sequential order. Continuing education credit will be awarded once you have completed all 3 sessions. You'll be asked to take a short knowledge exam at the conclusion of the course. Use speakers or headphones to hear the audio portion of this video. Download and print the course workbook, which is available online. As the workbook exercises appear, pause the video to complete them. Welcome to Session 1 of Recovery Goal Setting with Peers. What is recovery goal setting and a strength-based approach? In this course, you will learn how traditional treatment goals are different from wellness and recovery goals, what elements are vital to a recovery goal, features of a strength-based approach to goal setting, and how to identify and build on the strengths of the person you are supporting. Here are the 5 foundational beliefs about individuals that we'll use in this course. Everyone has the ability to learn and grow. People's beliefs determine their behavior. People think their way through life. Whatever people focus on, they give power to. Life's experiences are the best teacher. Keep these foundational beliefs in mind. Let's start this session with a story. There were 5 gorillas in a cage, with a large bunch of bananas hanging above a set of stairs in the center of the cage. Before long, a gorilla goes to the stairs and starts to climb towards the bananas. As soon as he touches the stairs, all of the gorillas are sprayed with cold water. After a while, another gorilla makes an attempt and gets the same results. All the gorillas are sprayed with cold water. Every time a gorilla attempts to retrieve the bananas, all the gorillas are sprayed. Eventually, they quit trying and leave the bananas alone. One of the original gorillas is removed from the cage and replaced with a new one. The new gorilla sees the bananas and starts to climb the stairs. To his horror, all the other gorillas attack him. After another attempt and attack, he knows that if he tries to climb the stairs, he will be assaulted. Next, the second of the original 5 gorillas is replaced with a new one. The newcomer goes to the stairs and is attacked. The previous newcomer takes part in the punishment with enthusiasm. Next, the third original gorilla is replaced with a new one. The new one goes for the stairs and is attacked as well. 2 of the 4 gorillas that beat him have no idea why they were not permitted to climb the stairs, or why they are participating in beating the newest gorilla. After the 4th and 5th original gorilla has been replaced, all of the gorillas that were sprayed with cold water are gone. Nonetheless, no gorilla will ever again approach the stairs. Why not? Because that's the way it has always been done. How does this story relate to the challenges of traditional mental health systems? How have you seen this dynamic play out in your own work environment? The mental health system was created to protect the public. In the early 1800s, in Philadelphia, the Asylum for the Relief of Persons Deprived of their Use of their Reason was created. Generally, it has been the belief that people with mental health conditions are deprived of the use of their reason, and that they can't think clearly or act in their own interests. This belief has been part of the institutional memory of the system today. What happens in traditional mental health systems that reflect that belief? Under a treatment model that seeks to protect the public and views people with mental health conditions as disabled and incapable, the accepted methods of treatment have been: identify persons considered to be mentally ill based on dangerous, unusual, or objectionable behavior, remove the person from the mainstream community, place in an institutional setting, stabilize symptoms, and maintain at that level of stabilization. Now let's look at how treatment goals are different from wellness and recovery goals. Contrasting values and power, the treatment model imposes clinical accountability and outward control, while the recovery model recognizes personal accountability, values, and choice. A fundamental concept of the recovery model is to see the whole person and the sum total of their experiences. It is not to define them by an illness or a diagnosis. The evidence referenced in the recovery model includes person-centered perspective, peers modeling progress and hope, and each individual identifying what wellness means for themselves. The treatment model evidence focuses on numbers and outcomes without any context to the individual's personal lived experience. Note how the practices change from one model to the other. For example, the treatment model focuses on reducing adverse events, while the recovery model is based on an individual's hopes and dreams. The purpose of treatment model services is to reduce symptoms and to gain compliance in treatment. In contrast, recovery model services focus on sparking hope to support an individual in creating the life they want. Deficit-based interventions monitor for stabilization, symptom reduction, medication compliance, attendance, and treatment compliance. They determine consequences for noncompliance, the behavior modification plan, and a realistic level of functioning. Deficit-based interventions are rigid. They include the following: A deficit-based approach leads to goals that look like this. The focus of these goals is on treatment and complying with or obeying the rules. The focus is also on maintenance, compliance, and becoming easier to handle. Nowhere is inspiration, hope, and the reason for achieving these goals. There's nothing here about taking these actions as a means to an end and achieving the person's goals, but more about that later. Here's an example of a deficit-based goal. Problem, or what's wrong. I'm anxious all the time, and I can't sleep more than 2 hours at a time. Goal, or what do you want? I want to feel calm and sleep through the night. Objective, then what you need to. You need to take this prescribed sleeping medication every night. Intervention. Here's how we will make sure you comply. Come see the nurse's station every night after dinner and take your sleeping medication. We'll watch you take it just to make sure. Write your own deficit-based goal in the grid supplied in your workbook. Consider the problem, the what's wrong, the goal, what do you want, the objective, then you will need to, and the intervention. Here's how we'll make sure you comply. Let's explore vital elements of a recovery goal. Consider the following questions and write one or more responses in your workbook. What is the purpose of recovery goal setting? Recovery goal setting should be based on what values? In recovery goal setting, the individual should be treated in the following ways. My role as a peer specialist in recovery goal setting is. While deficit goal setting is focused on fixing what's wrong with a person, recovery goal setting requires seeing what is important to the person, awakening possibilities, and supporting the person to discover that it is something that they can have. Focusing on a problem only highlights the deficits. It's far more recovery focused to concentrate on the targeted issue the individual is facing. This can be a much more challenging process. What is the critical life function they want to regain? What interferes with that? The wording of targeted issues is critical in recovery goal setting. Here's an example. The targeted issue? I was not able to graduate before, and now I feel like it's too late. I worry that I will fail again, and I don't even know where to start. The goal? I want to get my GED. The targeted issue is the individual's own words. It is more than the diagnosis. It is the impact of the diagnosis. It is the life function or activity that the diagnosis is interfering with. It is more than symptoms. It is the impact of the symptoms. It is the life function or activity that the symptoms are interfering with. Here are some examples of targeted issue wording. Some are not recovery-based, and one is recovery-based. Please write 3 examples of recovery-based targeted issues in your workbook. The strength-based approach to goal setting. Let's look at taking a strengths-based approach in setting and achieving goals. A strength-based approach is not about looking for strength. It's about knowing they are there. The following beliefs underlie the strengths-based approach. As you help others as a peer specialist, people will live up to or down to your expectations. It's important to avoid the following obstacles to a strength-based approach. One obstacle is fixing. Fixing. People are not broken. Fixing something for someone only robs them of the opportunity to gain new skills and confidence. Any kind of lecturing or parenting, real or perceived, represents a power relationship. Judging. Understand that resistance is a part of the process. Determining that a person's behavior is wrong fails to acknowledge the fact that the individual has some unseen yet valuable reasons for their behavior. Words. Strength-robbing phrases include you should, you need to, you can't. One of the most strength-robbing phrases, my advice to you is. How to identify and build on the strengths of a person. Focusing on strengths does not mean ignoring challenges or spinning everything into a strong point. Strengths-based means valuing the capacity, skills, wisdom, connections, and potential of each person. Strength development must be an active part of working with an individual. Let's reflect for a moment. Do you use these strategies as a peer specialist? How? What are some of the things you can say to a person you're supporting, or do with that person, to help them further develop their strengths? Take some time to respond to these questions in your workbook. Thank you. You've completed Session 1 and can now move on to Session 2, Understanding and Working with Resistance.